Ever since I saw my first Godzilla movie at the age of 5, I have loved Godzilla. The first VHS tape I ever asked to buy was a Godzilla movie. I flew halfway across the country twice to go to G-Fest, the world's biggest giant monster convention. I'm pretty sure. The essay that got me accepted into college was about Godzilla. That giant radioactive monster with the leaf-shaped dorsal fins and the very bad breath has burned his image into my brain. There's no coming back, whether I want to or not. And believe me, there's been times when I really wanted to. I remember trying to convince other kids to play Godzilla instead of Pokemon, or insisting that Godzilla might be real on some other planet. I get laughed at a lot for that kind of stuff. And maybe it is a little funny. Over the years, I've tried to convince a lot of people that the Godzilla movies are worth something. They have a reputation as this worthless, cheesy dreck that's not something you ever need to watch. And while the Godzilla series is a lot of things, it's not that. It's not worthless. So I've been perfecting my arguments over the years, you know? Even though I've grown a sense of humor about the movies, my love for them remains just as strong. Lately, I've been talking to my friends Sam and Joanna, trying to get them to watch the movies with me. Neither of them has seen a single one all the way through, so, as somebody who's seen almost all the movies multiple times, I'm determined to mold them into fellow fans. So, Sam, I've just asked you to join me on this adventure to go through every single Godzilla movie, of which there are more than 30, and...
Wait, seriously? Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, Joanna, I've just gotten you to agree to do this podcast with me, and we're going to watch every Godzilla movie, and you have seen none of them, right?
I think I once vaguely saw one late at night when I was like 8 years old and my older brother was watching it. But other than that, no recollection.
No real memories of it?
Not at all. Incredibly
vague. I think we can work with that. Even if you're not a true Godzilla virgin, I think we can still fit you into our
I may have seen him on a screen once, but what he was doing, where he was, who he was hanging out with, not a clue.
This is great. I'm looking for people with this totally blank state of mind around Godzilla.
Well, that's me. You got it.
What level of insanity do you have to have in your brain to want to subject yourself to this experience?
I wouldn't say insanity is the word. I would say more like, when you have nothing left to lose, and you're just like, you know what, at this point, why not? I could watch 40 movies about it. The salamander stomping on people, right? He stomps on people.
The moment when you're entering the Godzilla universe is a rock bottom moment for you, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that this is why it's a rock bottom moment. I just happen to be at rock bottom, and so I'm just thinking, can't get any lower. Let's watch 40 movies I haven't seen or know anything about.
If you had to, try to make an insight into his state of mind, what do you think Godzilla would think like? What do you think his take on life and love is?
Oh, man. I imagine he's just kind of lost, has he got time for it? He seems busy. Who's going to love him? That makes me sad to think about, actually.
So what are you expecting of from this one in particular, the very first one? What do you think it's going to be like?
Well, we're watching two versions, right? There's an American one and a Japanese one?
Right. Well, which ties into my next question. So you can answer them both at once. They're kind of the same thing. I was just going to ask, what do you suspect the differences will be like? But yeah, you can answer them in any order, same time, whatever makes the most sense.
It's black and white, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, well, that's not necessarily a problem, because I'm a cultured film person. But I expect it to be feel the oldest, feel like an old school movie. And I actually look forward to the American one better because I've seen American edits of foreign films, and they are remarkably stupid.
Another thing we're going to do, we're going to watch the original Japanese version first, And then we're going to watch the American version, which was done a couple years later when they brought it to the United States. So what do you think the differences are going to be? How do you think they changed it?
I think the American one is going to be cornier. And I think the differences between the Japanese and the American version. I'm trying to think, is Godzilla or King Kong the one who holds some chick in his hand and everyone's like, oh no?
You truly are a...
That's King Kong, right?
That is King Kong. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful that you have no idea what to expect from Godzilla.
Oh, whoops.
I think there's a weird chaos to trying to re-edit the story of something to appeal to a different and probably dumber audience. And I've seen American edits of things before. And so I fully expect the Japanese one to be better. But I am looking forward most to the American one because I love chaos.
Are you nervous watching it with people who've never seen it, or are you just excited and overbursting with joy at the thought of it?
I am very excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous that
Why?
if you really don't like it, I mean, we're gonna be in for a really rough podcast, right? After some wrestling and arm twisting worthy of any giant monster battle, I finally got them to sit down and agree to watch the Godzilla series with me. All 31 Japanese movies and both American ones. Plus a few extras. This could take a while. There is a legend of one man who persuaded his friends to watch every Godzilla movie ever made. This world is on the brink of destruction. We need you now, Godzillavangelists! Godzillavangelists, a Geek Stew Network podcast. Produced and hosted by Ryan Sargent. Featuring Sam Schlenker and Joanna Brodecki. Okay, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit?
Okay. Hi, my name is Joanna, and I grew up in a suburb of Chicago. So, me, my mom, my dad, I have an older sister and an older brother who antagonized me every day of my life. And once we were hanging out at Niagara Falls, and we were above the falls on this bridge, and they picked me up over the bridge and told me that I didn't belong with our family. So it was a rough childhood, if I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Really hard growing up. But then they all went to college, and then I lived kind of as the only child for a bit. So I was very spoiled by my mom, and she allowed me to participate in 100 activities a day, which was very good for my type A personality. It really fed into that. And I was type A and never partied in high school because I was on the cross country team, and it wasn't cool to do that.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Was it not cool to party amongst the cross countryers, or were you not cool because you were in cross country?
No, Ryan. The volleyball girls partied, but the cross country girls, we had important stuff to do at 7 a.m. So we did not party because we had bigger goals in life.
Gotcha. Girls with goals.
Girls with goals. That I have it on the back of a hoodie that I own.
Really?
Absolutely. Not a lie at all.
Yeah. I completely believe you. This is mostly unrelated, and I'm like 99% sure we're going to cut this, make it 100. But I recently had like a real Chicago style hot dog.
Oh
and
gosh, amazing.
I loved it so much that I
So
literally
good.
bought Vienna beef condiments off of Amazon so I could make them at home.
Oh no.
Wait, why would you
Ryan.
cut that? That stays in. I'm putting my foot
Wait,
down.
Ryan. I was vegetarian for a year and a half, and I kid you not, the only thing that I missed were hot dogs. Like, not even Chicago style hot dogs, just like microwavable hot dogs. I was like, God, how good would it be to just microwave a hot dog right now? And that's ultimately why I had to break it. I needed a hot dog because of my Chicago upbringing.
I totally understand. I'm going to toss it on to you, Sam. So now you
Yes.
tell us your background.
I was always an art and film guy. I have homework from like when I was 5 years old, or 6 or however old you're in first grade. I have homework that says it would be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Draw a picture, and I have stuff of like, I want to make movies, and so that hasn't changed. And definitely, I don't know. There was I think if we're gonna get real personal right now, because listen, if anyone's gonna get really critical and kind of dogmatic in their film criticism, not even criticism, but just opinions, like completely unwarranted opinions, it's gonna be me. And it's because I had something to prove, man. I was bullied. I felt like actually, I have a story about a bully I had. It's really a roller coaster, and I'll share it later. And it will not be cut.
Can't wait.
But I think beyond maybe I thought I was bullied more than I was, but I definitely felt like I have something to prove. I just gotta prove to everyone that I'm smarter than them, or something. So that may happen, and call me out on it.
And in your own words, how did we become friends?
We took a great improv class together, and then we started a little practice group outside of it, and everyone became buddy, and I thought, hey, this guy is pretty great. I think he'd be a great person to have as a friend, and now look, here we are, and how fantastic is that?
That's so like sweet and genuine and straightforward. I don't even have anything mean to say about that. Thank you.
Of course.
The year
Sam,
was 2011.
take a dig.
I'm gonna be as not genuine as possible. Well, we go a little farther back in that we went to college together. We went to film school at Chapman University, a real up-and-comer of a film school. And we, I think I knew of Ryan. Am I talking to you, straight to you, Ryan? This is to the audience. I knew of Ryan more than I think I knew Ryan. And I think, I remember him doing some special effects makeup on, some films and what have you. And I was always like, he seems cool. And then I guess it would have been, junior year or so. I think we became better friends, and I edited one of his films, right? And we have been inseparable ever since. And then he told me later on that for those 2 years that we kind of knew each other in passing, he thought I was a pretentious douchebag because I liked the movie Memento. And that is what film school is all about.
I felt the exact same way about you, Sam.
All right. Listen, guys, it's told backwards. The beginning is the end.
He's an art kid. A real art kid.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't just because of Memento. Honestly, I feel like a dick because there's a lot of love between us now. Sam is a very good friend of mine, but it's true. I did not get the best first impression.
Okay, Ryan, here is what I am really curious about. Just tell me a little bit about the foundation of your love for Godzilla. You know, how did it start? Who first introduced you and how old were you? I want to know a little bit about that.
It's a very James Lipton-esque question, Joanna. I feel like I'm in the actor's studio. But it's true. It is quite a story. So I was 5 years old, and I used to just absolutely love libraries. Every time I was in a new library, I would just explore it. At that point, I'd been to 2 elementary schools and a preschool, and like a bunch of town or city libraries. So I'd been to a few. I'd been around the library.
He'd hit him up.
world.
He'd hit up that library route.
Yep. So I was switched out of one kindergarten to another because we moved really early in the year when I was in kindergarten. And so I was just looking around this library, and I saw this row of like bright orange books just sitting in the middle of the shelf. And this was a really small library in a really small school, so it was easy to see everything. So I kept walking by these, and I came back to them eventually, and I'm like, all right, what are these? And they were a bunch of books all about monsters. And I was a really sheltered kid. So up to this point, you have to imagine I was basically on a diet of like 100% Sesame Street and Disney movies. So
Both of which have
puppets and
monsters.
animation. Yes. No, that's absolutely a thing. And I always loved the monsters in Sesame Street and in Disney movies as well. But to my recollection, had actually never seen like a live action movie that didn't have a puppet in it up to that point. So just like I had this whole wide world of movies open and ready to find and discover, and it just so happened that it was these monster books that brought me there. So the very first one I picked up was King Kong, and the cover had the King Kong roaring from the 70s version.
So King Kong was before Godzilla for you. By a
Yes.
little bit. Interesting.
Who would win in a
So-
fight? Who would win?
We're
Who'd
going
win?
to find out.
Wait, that's a
Who'd
movie.
win?
Huh?
Find out very soon.
Oh, okay, good point. That's a movie.
And so the next weekend, my family took me to rent the movie. And again, I lived in a rural area, so every single trip was like kind of a big deal. The movie rental place was like a half hour away. And so we drive out there and go in, and my dad finds out that they don't have King Kong.
Oh no.
Like, it's not just that somebody checked it out, they don't have a copy of King Kong, which strikes me as weird.
Not even
in hindsight.
1977 King Kong?
They may have had that one, but again, sheltered child, I would not be allowed to see that one for a while. But they did have King Kong versus Godzilla.
Whoa!
And my dad my dad saw how disappointed I was, so he was like, you know what, you're gonna like this one too. And we take it home and watch it that night, and it just changes my world. Like, when we watch that one, when we watch King Kong versus Godzilla, I'm gonna have so many like super specific ushy gushy memories to pour on you guys. But the short version is just like, I couldn't believe that there could be something so big and so exciting in this world, and it was just astounding. It was like discovering a whole new world, and I was hooked. And as it turned out, between the two monsters, I liked this new guy Godzilla more. He was just so cool and still is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. But that's the very long version of the origin story right there.
I'm so glad you brought us here to just trash your childhood. I mean, that was so beautiful.
I feel bad for King Kong now. Like, I'm kind of like, oh man, poor guy.
Yeah, what did he do? He just revolutionized movies forever.
He in a way changed your life too, but he's just
Yeah.
like more thrown to the side, man.
Nobody likes the underdog.
It's true. King Kong is like the girl next door, and she takes me to this wonderful place, and I meet her friend, and her friend is just so much hotter than she is.
Oh, man.
Do you actually find Godzilla hotter than Because, like, here's the thing. Humans evolved
The way you
from
talked
apes.
to you, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like finding an ape hot is a little bit more excusable than finding, you know, a big ol' lizard to be hot. Because that's kind of gross, Ryan.
Well, Godzilla's temperature is literally more hot.
Wait, I think it's the other way. They're cold-blooded.
But he's powered by a thermonuclear heart.
Oh, right.
Not to give it up
He's
to.
got a great big heart.
Spoilers. Now we don't even have to watch all 50 of them.
You know what?
You don't even have to watch all 78 of them.
There are 78 of them?
All 95 of them. We don't
All
gotta
94 Ryan, you didn't tell me there were 260 movies.
I've recently found out that there are some Japanese movie series that are much longer. There are some that have passed 100, but so be glad that I'm not making you watch like all the Crazy Cats movies or all the Taro-san movies.
All the Crazy Cats?
Yeah, there was a Japanese comedy team called themselves the Crazy Cats.
Were they like Monty Python?
No, they were like more like the Keystone Cops.
I mean,
That's a really old reference. They're a bunch of people who would hit each other over the head. They're like
I went, but I didn't know what you were referencing.
I know the Keystone Cops were popular in like the 1910s. I don't know.
No
why
clue
I
who
went
that
to
is. Ryan, do you think if you had encountered Godzilla at, because you were what, age 5? Do you think if you had encountered him closer to like, you know, say 12, so closer to 2005, do you think he would have had as much of an impact, or was it pretty crucial that it happened then?
I think it was crucial that it happened then because, like I said, it was like in so many ways the discovery of a new world. I hadn't seen movies that were, at least at the time they were released, intended for adults. I hadn't seen a lot of live action movies. I hadn't seen movies that were supposed to be like exciting or scary or thrilling. And so it was just like, I think it was really decisive that it happened then. And there's definitely things about Godzilla that are appealing to me, like genuinely. Like it's not entirely or even mostly nostalgia, but there's definitely a big factor in that.
So Ryan, what is your favorite Godzilla movie?
See, this is where I think nostalgia does play in. It's King Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay.
No doubt.
Which number is that?
I can't wait to watch
That is the third Godzilla movie.
Okay. So it's
it. Oh,
soon.
not too far. Not too far.
No.
Good to know.
It was his big breakout, actually. So.
But did he piggyback off of the big hairy shoulders of King Kong?
Oh, he totally did.
Okay.
I can see that it's not a great movie, and it's not even the best Godzilla movie, and it's probably not even in the top 3. But
whoa, you heard it here first. Hot take.
Yeah, hot take.
I would put it in the top 5, which is something of a controversial opinion in the Godzilla world. It's not an especially loved movie, but I love it a lot, and it's so unusual, at least in the original Japanese version. It's actually super ahead of its time in some ways because it's a very meta comedy. It's the third movie, and they already go
Wait,
just
it's
like
a comedy?
super meta. Yeah, there's like intentional comedy elements in it, and they're pretty good actually.
Does Godzilla hit King Kong over the head with like a police stick.
They become like the Marx Brothers.
The fights actually do start to incorporate comedy, starting with that one, but most of the comedy, fortunately, is on the human characters.
Wow. I'm impressed.
And yeah, there's one character in it who I think is my favorite human character in any of the Godzilla movies, and the guy who played him actually won like the Japanese equivalent of an Oscar. So yeah, I'm excited to watch that one with you guys eventually. So in first grade, when I was 6, at the beginning of the year, we got this journal. Do you guys remember those marble composition books?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So we had one of those that was specifically just every morning we were supposed to write about something that had happened or that we wanted to talk about and draw a picture to go with it. And literally for months and months, every single entry in that book is about Godzilla. I still have it, and I flipped through it recently, and it was amazing, just like the incredible nonsense. Like, I would talk about him like fighting one monster one day and another monster another day, and like something he did with his son another day, and it was Godzilla's birthday another day. And
Ryan, I'm definitely gonna need some photos of these journal entries for the Insta.
Ryan,
I will definitely get my mom to send it, or just scan it herself.
Ryan, this has words in it, right?
Yes.
Can we? Oh, for the love of God, Ryan! For the love of Godzilla, can we read an entry from this?
We
per
have
episode?
to. Oh, that's it. We have to.
This is
No question.
This is so vitally
Absolutely.
important.
I'm emailing your mother right now to mail them to my home.
That is a great idea, actually. I'm down to have like the weekly quote from the journal or
Yeah.
whatever. But
We're reading a whole chapter.
Even as a little wrap-up.
there is a sad twist to this story.
No.
Wow.
There was a
So
fire in your
eventually-
house burned down and the journal with it?
It wasn't
No, the journal
Godzilla at
still
all.
exists. I was flipping through it, and eventually I got to a page, and written in big red pen is a note from the teacher, and it says, "No more Godzilla."
Well, she's a
That-
bitch.
I agree. I'm just like, at the time I was just like embarrassed, and I was such a good boy that
How
I
old were you
stopped.
again?
6.
How old was she?
In her mid-30s. But in hindsight, I'm like, that is so screwed up. Like, I was displaying like a genuine interest in writing and drawing, and I
You're
was like
just
happy to do it every morning, and
Creative
she just like shut
and
it down.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
She was probably bitter about her own life, you know? Just trying
She
to
probably-
take some joy from you.
Godzilla probably reminds her of her ex.
Totally. I mean, without a doubt.
But yeah, I totally plan one day when I'm up for being the director of the next Godzilla movie. My secret plan is to bring that journal to the meeting with the producers.
The table reading.
As evidence that I'm the perfect person to do it.
That's it, boy. I'll
That's
hire.
perfect.
I don't know what voice that was. That was whoever's hiring you.
I literally
They're like-
thought you were speaking in another
Am I
language.
being hired by the B-52s?
That's right. Listen, I'm not one for voices, for good voices.
That's not true at all. That's the only thing you're for.
Yeah, Sam, that's the only reason you're here, so...
I didn't realize I was so important to you guys. I suppose
Make
I'll
the
hire
funny
you on my
voices.
Godzilla film. I know you're a fan of the movies. Do you have Godzilla stuff? Like, do you flaunt your Godzilla hood? Do you have, like, you know, do you wear stuff from the movies? I don't know. I'm just asking. I feel like
T-shirts, hats, jackets,
Yeah.
hoodies,
like one of those little
ornaments,
body pillows.
Christmas ornaments.
I'm not going to tell you about my body pillow. That's between me and Goji-chan.
Is that a person from Godzilla?
Spicy.
No, I'm doing deep anime reference here. Or
Oh,
not
those are
deep.
lost on
Not
us,
deep
too.
at all.
Sam, quit asking
Surface
so many
anime
dumb
reference.
questions.
That's all right. We can cut that.
It's
No, I think it was good.
Yeah, I definitely have had a few T-shirts, and I still have one. I like it a lot. It's basically like monsters playing poker. So it's a bunch of giant monsters sitting on a table playing poker and smoking and drinking. It's a pretty good T-shirt. I guess another one of my favorites, and it sort of started this whole other hobby of mine, is in the 60s and 70s, they released this series of plastic monster models, and it was kind of like a revolution for the toy industry because there had been an attempt to like make realistic depictions of characters from movies and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I know I'm going to cut this if I get into it too much. But basically, short version, my dad had a bunch of them growing up, and they were so popular that they keep getting re-released. And so in the 90s, they re-released the Godzilla one. And I remember building that with my dad, and I still have that model. It's so badly painted because it was literally painted by a 5-year-old. But I can't help but love it.
Aw.
Aw, that's precious. So cute.
Sorry,
There's a
I
lot
didn't-
of precious memories.
I didn't know when that was gonna end, and I was in so deep on that. So my takeaway is this is something that just really cuts deep for you.
Oh, absolutely. I was made fun of it for it a lot, as you can imagine.
Oh no.
Especially in 4th and 5th grade, and
What did they say?
just like generic child insults. Godzilla's stupid. All those old movies are so lame. It looks so fake. Stuff
You guys,
like that.
not to be cool about it or anything, but I'm the only one of us three who was never bullied. So just wanted to apologize for your pain.
You were
and
never
note
bullied?
that I never had to suffer through it. I know, right?
Were you the bully?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, not to get too far off the mark, but somebody once told me never trust anyone who was never bullied because that means they were the bully. So now I'm tremendously suspicious of you, Joanne.
You know me, a real asshole.
Well,
But yeah, so for a while I had to like
Hold strong
kind of
to
keep it under wraps.
Oh, okay.
But I never stopped loving it. When I was a teenager, I went to G-Fest, which is the biggest Godzilla convention, twice. And
Where do they have that?
they had it in Chicago, actually.
Oh, Chicago hot dogs. What's good?
full circle, guys.
Eventually I sort of learned how to have a sense of humor about it, which I think just deepened my love, actually, because there's a lot to laugh about and there's a lot to like love about it that's very silly. And now I'm kind of out of step with what you might consider like the mainstream Godzilla fans, because a lot of them were really just looking for a more serious, better looking Godzilla, whereas I think that they are kind of missing the point. But that's a big topic. That's going to come up a lot as we watch through these.
I like
movies.
that though. Yeah, that's interesting.
Is it as if everyone's like, give me the Dark Knight of Godzillas, and you're like, no, Joel
Yes.
Schumacher, bring Joel Schumacher in your bat nipples.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, it's a very popular opinion to be like, people were always like asking for the gritty Godzilla movie when I was a teenager, and back then I was like, yeah, that's right, do a gritty Godzilla. But now I'm like, no, that's just that has very little to do with the core appeal of Godzilla. And I'll get into it just a little bit. The short version for me is that people have loved these movies and developed a fandom around them for decades and decades before they ever looked good, with all these like mediocre to bad special effects. So that's clearly not what's important about Godzilla. It's got to be something else. And so simply making it look good and making it more
realistic,
gritty can't be what people loved about it. So there's my intriguing little thesis.
Interesting insight.
We're ready to go down this journey with you, Ryan.
We're here, Ryan.
We don't know much.
We're gonna take each hand and lead us down the path.
Yep.
I feel so loved. I'm
You should.
alone right now, but I'm reaching out my hands and I'm like imaginarily holding hands with you guys right now. I hope you're doing the same.
I'm slightly too far from Sam to be able to hold his hand, but I'm reaching out.
I'm reaching out too. Ryan, if I were to cheer for Mothra, would you kick me off the podcast?
Yeah, who's your
Wait, okay.
Who's your favorite
I have
villain?
another question.
Oh,
There's
Sam.
so many questions coming out right now.
Yeah, sorry. We'll all ask a few. Here's mine. Who's your favorite enemy of Godzilla? Go.
That was my question.
What?
Good job.
Well,
I'm reaching out toward you from my room.
Through the door.
I'm going to I'm going to say this very specifically so as to not be inaccurate. My favorite Godzilla monster is Mothra. I mean, apart from Godzilla himself. Godzilla's my favorite, but after that, it's Mothra. Godzilla and Mothra have a very interesting dynamic that you will see develop between them over the course of a few movies.
Are they lovers and then things turn south?
Oh, I hope so. Is that the beginning? Is them just like the end of a passionate night, and then Godzilla says something kind of insensitive?
He says something about how he thought he'd never end up with insectoid American. And, she says, "What do you mean by that?" And he makes a joke about how he thinks bug people are lazy, and she doesn't find it very funny.
No, as she shouldn't be. We're living in the 21st century.
I hope you do develop your favorite monsters, because that's a big part of the fun, is like talking about the dynamics between the monsters and who would win in a fight, or would they fight, or would they be able to get along. That is the kind of thing that appeals to my most inner childlike nerd.
Yeah, I'm planning on playing that game. You know, it's like, 5 of them are stuck in a room. The world's ending. Only 4 of them will make it. Which one do they push out? You know, like groups of friends of monsters. How are they all interacting?
Exactly.
If not on the podcast, in my mind at least, that's where it will be going.
Joanna, I will gladly talk to you all night about this.
Ryan, marry, fuck, kill. Mothra, Mechagodzilla, King Kong. Go.
See, you guys don't even know what they're like.
I have no
so what's the
clue.
point?
I have a fully formed opinion on it regardless.
Same.
I am declining this question until you can have a more informed opinion. And yes, that's me being a stodgy nerd. Deal with it.
Damn it, Ryan.
Anyway, another thing you said was, Joanna, you said this, at a certain point you think they're all going to feel the same. You will probably reach that point, and for like 2 or 3 movies, you're gonna maybe find it hard to find things to say. But once you push past that, you will have seen so many that the differences will become super distinct to you.
Okay.
And you'll be able to like pull them out really easily. Or at least I think that's what's gonna happen. That's my prediction.
Ryan, I've always got something to say, so I'm not concerned about that. But as long as there's, maybe a little glass of wine or some popcorn supplied during the movie, even if they do start feeling similar, I will make it through, and I will ensure that I have opinions.
We should start with a glass of wine and popcorn, and then each one we gotta up our game on what mind-altering substance we consume during the movie. This is what I say, and our show is gonna get so wild.
I was gonna say, by the 50th episode, are we just like eating glass and
just
drinking
DMT?
Yeah, man, we're fucking eating glass, man. That's what it is. You in or not?
I mean, I'm in.
If I'm watching a Godzilla movie, I'm in. But no, I insist that we watch these all in a state of relative sobriety. You've got to know what it's really like to be in the middle of 33 Godzilla movies.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, I see your point.
We'll consent to it.
I'm a purist. What can I say, guys? You knew what you were getting into, and if not...
We did not.
I guess you were sober.
Well, you're trapped now!
That was a great laugh.
So do you guys have any more questions for this intro?
I think, so how's this gonna go? Like, just for our sake and for everyone at home, what are we expecting here?
Yeah, for the most part, we're going to stick chronologically. There may be a special occasion where we make a little sidetrack now and again, but pretty rarely, because I think that seeing, how these movies developed is pretty cool. Sam has convinced me to suppress my desire to tell the story of all the wonderful people who made these movies, but I still that story will come out naturally as we watch how they all led into one another. That's my hope, anyway.
Sounds good to me. We doing one a month?
1 to 2 a month.
1 to 2 a month.
Depending on
So at this
what
rate,
life has in store.
It'll be roughly 8 years. Wait.
No. You're way overshooting. What? It'll be roughly
I'll be in my late
4
20s.
years. Yes.
I'm going to be in my late 20s.
But I promise we'll all be done before we're 30.
That's a good goal. Finish before we're 30.
Yeah. Honestly, I like that. And it's good because it's far enough away that we can kind of just be like, yeah, just give it a month or two off,
Definitely doable.
Nope. No vacation from Godzilla.
Nope.
No rest for the wicked. And with that, let's go watch Godzilla. If you want to watch along with us, go watch the original Japanese version of the 1954 Godzilla before you listen to the next episode. Godzillavangelists, a Geek Stew Network podcast, is brought to you by me, Ryan Sargent, and my friends Joanna Brodecki and Sam Schlenker. We'd like to thank our editor and mixer, Zachary Stanton Savitz. All our incredible music is composed by Robert Mai, and our wonderful artwork is drawn by Cassidy Stone. Our social media was coordinated with style by Lauren Sargent. We'd like to give special thanks to our families, to Michelle Delgado, and to the wonderful artists who made the movies that we talked about today. Godzillavangelists is a satirical, critical work not affiliated or endorsed by Toho, Legendary Pictures, or anyone behind the Godzilla series. Visit our website at godzillavangelists.com. We're on Twitter at GodzillaVangelists, and also Instagram, also at GodzillaVangelists. Check out our SoundCloud and YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you join us next episode. In the meantime, keep spreading the word of Godzilla.